Let me ask you something. Do you have fears that you think you're stopping you? Do you think if only I could overcome this fear, I would be great, happy, successful, well, you name it? Or would you actually put yourself in danger, make yourself a fool or a laughingstock? Stay with me, because by the end of this episode, we will explore the hidden knowledge in fears and how to use it for your own good. And more importantly, how fear can become your compass instead of your prison. Welcome to the Gamechanger, the podcast for people who'd rather rewrite the rules than play by someone else's outdated playbook. If you need a sign, this is it. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. This was said by Aristotle, by the way. Fear is our first language. Before the words, before logic, we cry for survival, we fear abandonment. Because this could mean death for us. We will learn to fear and cry for help. We quickly learn that being loved means being cared for, and not loved, not cared for. And again, we fear that we won't survive. So this is the basics of it. The fear is born with us, and to fear is to live. This is why it is so deeply ingrained in us. It is so deeply intertwined with our early years and caregivers. We cannot even remember it, but being dreadfully scared in a young age could bear consequences long after. A lot of therapists are working with the traumas that happened actually in the very young age that we couldn't remember. And every single one of us is having fears. The most successful entrepreneurs, artists, sportsmen, parents. And fear is often a main contributor to our own disgraceful behavior. We are afraid to lose control. We are afraid of not being valued, to lose love, because we fear that we eventually won't survive. Your parents were shouting at you because you were scared, frustrating, and they would lose you, or you would hurt yourself, or just scared to be perceived as bad. Your boss is micromanaging because he's afraid to lose control and lose his job. Your partner argues because they fear not being valued. You know that, right? When you understand your fears, you start decoding others. And this is a cheat code. First, you need to understand your own fears. You need to understand how they appeared. How can you work with that? And you have all the willpower to overcome these fears. It doesn't mean that they will be defeated. You don't need to fight them. You just need to not to let them rule. It doesn't mean that you have to figure it all out. But when you stand on the path of facing fears, you will be more compassionate to yourself and more observant of others' behaviors and what it is behind it. It is the power. This is the true power. But only you decide what to do with your observation. It could lead to compassion or dominance or both. You have an access to their operating system. You can help them by loving them through their behaviors because you know why they do what they do. Or you can choose dominance. Fear is basically people's source code. Once you can read it, you can choose, do I hack it? Do I heal it? Well, or you can leave a person be and just continue your own path. This is also an option. Nature is not the biggest threat for our amygdalas anymore. We are still jump off the snakes, because it's a hardware already. But modern fears are mainly social, and not being loved, not fitting in, not being enough. What's yours? Tell me in the comments. And the main paradox that makes us miserable, that in attempt of fitting in, being enough, or being loved, we are being good for others, and that all lead us to be cruel to ourselves. We seek validation, confirmation, acceptance, all of it externally, but internally we continue rejecting ourselves. We sacrifice ourselves at the altar of being liked. This is not survival. This is self-betrayal. It is fear that makes us do so. And the cure is, start to give all that we crave from others to yourself by yourself. No one will ever be able to fill you up with love and never ever leave you or betray you. There is one and only person in the whole world that will stay with you your whole life. And this is you. You will be with you whole life. You are inseparable with yourself. You are yourself. Imagine that this is the most trusted person, that this person that loves you most, and this is everything that you have. This is a different frame, but just imagine for a moment that you can trust yourself. You need to love yourself. In our modern life, we use fear, and business can get very creative with that. In a corporate world, it can be weaponized. There is sometimes two borderlines, like if you fail, you're out. Or for another part of it, you're totally disarmed. Every failure is a lesson. So we're being very mild to each other. And here are two examples of both strategies, like Steve Jobs with the Apple in the beginning. It was a fear-driven intensity. People feared not meeting his vision. He was praised and put on a pedestal for his visionary style. But what his employees were saying about him, he was a despot. And another one, the Satya Nadella, required Microsoft culture to be growth-based and not fear-based. And now it is growing its gaming department. Yeah, we still sometimes talk about games, yes. And here's just one meme comes to mind from The Office. Not everything is a lesson, Ryan. Sometimes you just fail. And that's their attempts to save their gaming department. Well, let's see how it will. Do they learn a lesson, or they just say that they fail? But when the corporate culture is a collective unconscious, it can manifest as a common mindset. For the individual, it's getting way harder. Like, imagine that. How to ask for a raise or promotion? This is a very huge question for most of us. How to assert boundaries? This is also kind of hard because it's pushing some people away because you fear that. And also imposter syndrome, like you're thinking that you are not who you are. Well, and also how to get out of a toxic job, but you're afraid to be seen as a traitor. Oh, this is a very common story. People really afraid to abandon toxic relationship. It could be relationship with a partner, it could be a family relationship, it could be a work relationship, because they afraid to look bad in the eyes of the people who abuse them. And that drives me a little bit nuts sometimes. So we're all scared to look like a fool, cause embarrassment we all feel also quite early. Within our first communication with peers, and we are all frustrated. Our mom told me that I look amazing in this new shirt, but why my kindergarten friends say that I look foolish? And they laugh. Who is right? Who should I believe? This is the main frustration. What do you think? Who should you believe? I also noticed that fear attracts what you fear of. This is more like metaphysics, yeah, but maybe it also can be explained by our behavior. We act like we want to avoid an object of fear, but we become very vigilant in the search of this object of fear. And as we are putting a lot of attention into it, it became manifest. So if you love to fear, fear will love you back. Attention is our currency, and you decide where you pay your attention. So if you pay your attention to your fears, well, your purchase is being done. Well, I love my fears. When they do not take over me, of course. They highlight where the work should be done. For example, I found myself fearing the reaction of the audience to what I'm saying in this podcast. And this is a work about my perception of me. I'm afraid to look foolish and be perceived as ignorant one. And here I start to work on why this is important to me not to be ignorant. Maybe I'm not accepting myself first, and then I need to work on it. So yes, I need to find the basis of what my state is, accept it, and then work on it. So every time you fear of public speaking, you have unfinished self-acceptance. If you're afraid to fail, you have unfinished self-trust. And you're afraid of saying no, this is unfinished boundary setting and actually loving yourself to the extent where you know what is good for you and only you. So this is not a monster. It becomes a mirror and a flashlight showing where you give your reins of your survival to others. Well, take them back. Fear, it isn't telling you to stop. It's whispering like, look here, the work isn't done. But when I worked through some of the fears, some of the deep ones, and it felt so freeing, it felt so much relief. And with that energy, you feel like a lot of power. I understood how much energy can anxiety and fears eat up from your life. Wow, that's a huge amount. That's like a leech that drives you nuts. And also with that, I'm trying not to miss any of the fears. With that, once I got a feeling that there is nothing left. And I thought, well, is to be fearless even good? Is it normal? Or I am slowly turning into a cycle? While I was not, of course, fully freed of my fears, I start to dig into the topic. Complete absence of fear, it is pathology, yes. And it can happen, for example, when the amygdala, but not the princess one, but the one in your brain, got injured. So the people do not understand the basic survival instincts. They can easily get themselves into trouble and get them killed. So they going to something very dangerous without knowing that it is dangerous. That's not the situation where we want to be. We want to know where it's dangerous, but not to be controlled by that. Fearlessness is not where we should head. But we just need to take control from the fear to ourselves. And then you will decide what you want to do more, to grow or to stay in safety. Real freedom, it isn't fearlessness. No, it's fear awareness. Courage isn't absence of fear, it's deciding what you'll do despite of it. So, we don't need our bodily and survival fears. We maybe need to control the fears that limiting us. Do you know that? Sometimes fear is hiding behind very convincing beliefs. Like when you fear to do so, but you say, I just don't want to. But this is how you convince yourself, not others. Or saying that I'm not good enough, or not ready, or not inspired. This is all fear masked into something less shameful. We all can respect other moods and even self-picture. But we are rarely being empathetic to others' fears. So fear, to have a fear, it's already something shameful. It's adding a huge new layer on the fear. So to have a fear, it's something shameful, and we need to hide it. And hiding it as deep as possible. And hiding it as deep as possible doesn't mean that it's not there. But this is a layer of fear as if something real, but even bodily. We can be feared of heights, depth, like spiders or snakes. It is always ingrained somewhere in the very childhood past, but somehow was not rationalized in the adulthood. By the way, it makes us human. By the human, I mean, well, animalistic human, this type of creature. So that's natural. What I noticed that people tend to attract what they fear. Like the fear is the magnet showing that they have to face it and resolve. Let's a little bit uncap my fear. I have one. I have a fear of heights, and I sometimes fear to be on unstable elevation, like see-through bridges. And I'm afraid to fall. I'm afraid to misstep. And that lead me to the thought that, yes, I'm afraid to fail. And that's also going not only to the bodily fears of heights, it's going everywhere. I do afraid to fail. Well, maybe your bodily fears also can tell you about something. I heard the captivating stories when people are drawn and mesmerized by what they fear. And That's a tangled knot of passions based on high emotions, the loveless thrill that comes from fear. Is it a fear though? Or is it a hidden longing? Remember my story about being brave on a river. Despite the fear that I decided to run, I observed it and I decided to run. I wanted to back off, but I decided to run. Your decisions will pave your way, not your fears, unless you decide to. And I like one amazing and calming book, A Tea with the Demons from Adriana Limbach. It's a very freeing idea that you don't have to fight your demons, but talk to them and listen. They will tell you more than you can imagine. They are only messengers, so, dear fear, invite him to the tea and ask, what are you protecting me from? Look, I'm alive, I'm not hurt, I'm okay. What are you protecting me from? And it will answer what you're actually afraid of hurt, being cast out of the pack, a loss of love, and all of the fears that we found out when we were small babies and we need them for survival. You survived so far, and that's an accomplishment, really. And prove that you'll survive down the road. And starting this damn blog won't get you annihilated. Making this business won't make you lose love. And showing love for the others won't take your life from you. You will survive. Fear isn't going away. It's not meant to. It's not your enemy, it's your compass. But when it spikes, it points right to your unfinished work. So no, don't aim to be fearless. Aim to be fear-aware. Because the moment you understand your fears, you unlock just your own freedom, but the map to understanding everyone else. There's also a power. Well, let's pull a card for today. As I'm finishing my episode about the fears, let's shuffle it a bit. And should be death or devil? No, probably not. I know what it is. It's a damn 9 of Swords. It's the desperation, depression, and the sleepless nights. It is an anxiety embodied. What would you do with that, with all that knowledge that we talked today? Welcome your fear and be grateful. Bye. Love this episode? Pass it to a fellow rebel. Got a rule that is driving you nuts? Break it, then tell me about it. And hey, don't forget, ditch the script, change the game.